Okay, we're live, and hi everybody again, and welcome to the channel. And it's nice to see you here again tonight, and we're going to talk about dreams.
Hello everybody.
Hi. Oh, hi, full Monty. We saw you last time. You had
And
some
are
good
you the
questions.
full Monty?
Yeah. We're going to talk tonight about dreams during the coronavirus. And hi, Catherine Evans. Yeah, nice to see you again. I can't remember if you were here last week. Some of you are patrons, of course, and we thank you for supporting the site. And all the patrons out there that are just coming, sorry, I sent the email out a little bit late today. So you got it 3/4 of an hour before we went live. So we're going to do the coronavirus dreams, as it were, today. So if you've got any dreams, Kim Jong-un. yeah, we've seen you here before. Yeah, you keep causing trouble, Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, where are you hiding?
Yeah. So we're going to do about dreams during the coronavirus period. I mean, it's been in the press a bit because they've been talking about how people are tending to have very strange dreams. I mean, for example, we're not sleeping that well, are you? I mean, our sleeping cycle has become very strange. We get up at different times. I mean, I wake up at sort of 3 o'clock and things like that.
I wake up 4.
Bali Vedic Astrology. We're going to have you on very soon. Not this week, but it's next week. So everybody stay tuned to find out about Vedic astrology. Yeah, so during this coronavirus, it's been a period where people have been reporting to have very odd dreams. Now, one of the reasons this may be is, well, first of all, Freud said about dreams that the function and objective of dreams is to help us to maintain sleep. So part of the reason we're getting strange dreams, I think, is because our sleep cycles have become a kind of disrupted. We don't have to all get up with the same alarm clock as we would have done when you're going to work. So people are tending to get more sleep. Hi, Kathy. Get more sleep and also get better sleep. And when you're not being woken up by an alarm clock, you tend to remember your dreams a lot more too. So we're also remembering our dreams.
Lucid dreams. So
dreams are kind of a strange sort of thing. I've actually done quite a bit of work on dreams because one of my first books was called The Hidden Meaning of Dreams, right? And that was a bestseller, actually. And that's why I published so many books, because that was the sort of the basis of so many of my... Irene Taylor, hi. It was kind of the basis of my work as a writer. And so I know a bit about dreams. I've written 7 books on dreams now. So these kind of, our sleep patterns have changed because we get all these different, what we call REM periods when we go to sleep. Our eyes move very rapidly, rapid eye movement. And it shows that we can tell when a person's dreaming. And we all have about 3 major REM periods every night. So we all kind of have 3 dream periods. And the last dream period tends to come as we wake up, you know. So those are the ones we remember the most, the last dreams in the cycle. So people are having some very odd dreams, and partly because we're starting to remember them, partly because we're also in a kind of a very different surreal world. Like, we've just been outside, haven't we, Jane? And we've been doing the
afternoon tea, VE day.
VE day, right? And then he said something else.
I know.
But so it was weird, wasn't it? It was
surreal.
Great.
People coming closer together, and those social distancing. It was nice, wasn't it? Yeah.
So here in the UK, if you're watching from America, we've had celebrating the end of the Second World War, and we've all been living sort of doing today a 1950s sort of day on the lawns and our front lawns, and everybody's had tea and cakes, and we went over the top
scones
today.
And cream.
And I've got some video of that we'll show you later on another video I'll bring out soon. But it was a little bit like a dream. It was like the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, you know, the mad dream world of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, wasn't it? And I think where we're living in a kind of an unreal world at the moment, I mean, can you really believe all this, you know, coronavirus lockdown still happening? It just feels
like a dream.
It's like a dream, isn't it? It's weird. It's a new state of consciousness for everybody.
It's an awakening.
And I suppose it affects us on a deep unconscious level.
Well, I think people are becoming kinder too, don't you? And
Oh,
people
a lot of good things
generous
happening.
and
Yeah, I mean,
it's sort of people aren't being selfish; they're giving, aren't they?
I actually think on a lot of levels,
It's a good thing.
this is a good thing.
Yeah.
We were talking about it today because, you know, the subject today is dreams. But I think sometimes what happens when we have an actual proper period of reflection, which we're getting, you know, our unconscious mind works in the background and it throws up stuff. Sometimes it throws up stuff deep in our lives, things that we haven't had time to think about, basically. And then it also throws up our fears, because kind of in the background at the moment, there's this sort of pensive, strange sort of horror behind it all. You know, where we're all trying to have tea and biscuits on the lawn, right? And at the same time, you look at the news and so many thousand people are dying in this country and that country, you know. So you've got this strange contrast of being able to enjoy your life because you've got more time, and yet at the same time there's this horror in the background,
like hanging over your head, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a bit like, you know, this is going to make your dreams very strange.
Hello, Sairam.
Sairam. Sairam is what people say when followers of Satya Sai Baba. So that's why people say sometimes Sairam to us, because we're also been followers of Sai Baba in the past. And actually his dreams are some of the most interesting ones of all, because if you dream of Satya Sai Baba, they say you cannot dream of him without him willing it. Yeah, and those are real dreams. So has anybody been having unusual dreams, weird dreams, you know? So post them in the comments. Not necessarily
weird dreams.
Well, or different dreams. Because I think this coronavirus period is actually a time when dreams are much more at the fore. So from CB.
Oh my goodness.
Do you want to read it out? Or should I?
Dreamt a woman ripped out the neck and lungs of another woman, blew into them like a trumpet, no sound, but the air she blew into my left ear. My hearing went out, woke up that way. Audience controlled.
I don't get the audience controlled bit.
That sounds like a night of fear.
But obviously you can't write it, you know, to put a dream in a few moments. An interesting one. I don't think it's weird.
Well, it's like it's fear. I feel
it is. It's a fear of the coronavirus, isn't it? Because it's the lungs, isn't it?
Yes, and it affects the lungs with your respiratory.
And that's what kills people. Yeah. So there is a dream symbolically saying to you, CB, that you know, that's reflecting your fears of it, you know, whether you're in contact with people. Say, for example, if you were working as a frontline person or something, you'd obviously have that very much in the forefront of your mind. And dreams are often there to protect us, aren't they? They warn us. So it's bringing your fears to the surface here. And I think that idea of blowing the lungs up, it's a nightmare, isn't it?
It's a nightmare dream, that is, and it's very real, frightening.
But when you think about it, it's self-explanatory, that dream, in many ways.
Oh my goodness!
I've had very odd dreams.
You're not a psychopath, are you?
I've had very odd dreams. Murders and dead people asking me to participate in mass killing. Well, it's symbolic, isn't it? Because the way dreams work is there are thoughts, but they talk to us in symbols, in metaphors, in allegories, don't they? That's a different language that dreams have. And when we see it like that, the dream becomes self-explanatory. A murder. It's in this case, it's death, isn't it?
My grandmother always used to say, "Reverse your dreams."
Yeah, that's old superstition. That's wrong.
It does work. No, she used to say that.
But mass murder is a symbolic, isn't it, of what's happening to us all, really. You know, I mean, you can unravel a dream by just looking what it says to you.
It's like the dead wood actually coming out, isn't it, in a clearing?
Well, I suppose so. It's like a mass murder,
and perhaps
that's what the coronavirus is doing to us. It's a mass murder.
Yeah, in your subconscious mind, it's releasing anger and fear, isn't it, again?
And in that dream, it looks like you were the mass murderer in the dream. So do you fear that you carry the coronavirus? You know, have you a fear that you could even be a carrier? I would have thought with that dream, you maybe have to visit someone or look after somebody that might be susceptible, and you worry for their safety. I would expect. So I think that dream is saying, "Ooh, could I be carrying something? And what if I was? How would it affect my mum, or how would it affect my nan?" Or so there could be something hidden behind that, even in a simple dream like that. That you have a fear of infecting somebody.
Right, next one
I'm
up.
not saying you've got it, but, you know, it might be just a fear. Ken and Michelle
that's
Shelton.
interesting.
I've had
Wave
dreams for the last
3 nights.
3 nights. The water was rising. The waves were so big.
Well, that symbolises water's a very spiritual thing, isn't it? And the environment's changing, and it feels like all the water's rising, sea levels and everything. That's another form of fear, I take it.
Yeah, well, water in dreams
symbols,
often,
spiritually.
it represents the emotions, often, water in dreams. And because just like the sea, it has various moods, doesn't it? It had rough seas and calm seas. It represents our emotional state.
Rising up.
And so to have something where there's like being overwhelmed with a wave, for example, in a dream, is like being overwhelmed by your emotions. So I would say that you've got a fear there. You've got a feeling that you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed by something. Something has been happening in your life that has kind of taken over. It might not be now. It might be relating to something else in your past. It might be something that you were fearing.
They're good people, these two. They're very good people. And rising, it's a spiritual awakening.
Could be. It could be a rise of something happening, lifting in your life of some sort. It could be a positive thing. You have to look at the dream and say, how do you feel in the dream? So, for example, if that dream you were feeling you woke up feeling under threat or something, that would show that your emotions are overwhelming you. Supposing you were feeling good about it, it might be something pleasant emotionally that's in your life. So I say, to get to the bottom of a dream, first thing you want to ask yourself is, how am I feeling? You know, am I feeling stressed as I have this dream? Am I feeling happy? And that'll help you get to unravel
another
it.
important thing is, when you have dreams, have a dream book, perhaps by the bed, date them and write them down so you can analyse them in the future.
Yeah, it's always good to write your dreams down. That will encourage you to remember it. And even putting the dream diary by the side of your bed, it will encourage you to have a dream. Dreamt I was taken to a classroom by a Hindu man. Only the two of us there, and a female walked in and kissed my mouth, and her tongue turned into a snake in my mouth and went right into my stomach. That's going to take a bit of thinking about.
Well, spiritual things against snakes, isn't there? Snake can be a protection. Now, why is that snake going into the stomach there? Your solar plexus is there. So once again, it's taking out all the venom, I see it, from that person. And with it, perhaps she has attachment to that person in a dream as well, that of the opposite sex.
Yeah, I'll have a go at this one as well, because I think you're taken to a classroom. So it's a lesson.
Yeah,
it's a lesson of some sort by a Hindu man. Now, I presume you're not, you're of a different ethnic to Hindu. So I'm assuming that a Hindu man there might represent something a bit mystical to you, perhaps something foreign, something that's from your unconscious mind that you're not aware of yet. You know, something that's coming into your life that you kind of not quite accepted, but there's something strange about it. And it depends what your associations are with Hindu. I mean, someone like myself, who's obviously been very involved in meditation and things, may see that as some mystical thing, an awakening thing. And of course, the snake is also a symbol of sometimes of the Kundalini. So that might
underworld.
be, yeah, and the underworld, and it sheds its skin. So it's a snake in the Western terms can often be a rebirth. And it went into your mouth and her tongue turned into a snake. So there's something, I would say there was something sexual in that as well, with the kiss and the mouth and the tongue, this phallus symbolism there. And it went right into your stomach.
It's a cleansing thing. Solar plexus here. It's a cleansing thing.
Sick to the stomach. I think something has upset you there. Something has upset you. There's kind of a spiritual thing to it. There's something that has upset you. And I would say it's something that's upset you with a relationship of some sort. And I would say something's upset you on a sexual level. Sorry. But Freud does recognize that most dreams do have some kind of symbolism. He was wrong, Freud, with 90% of what he said. But I think there was something there what went wrong with a relationship, and that's what the dream's trying to work out. And it's the way you feel about things. So I think you've got to think about your relationships a bit. I think there's something that's not been quite comfortable in your relationship. Kim Jong-un. Well, Kim Jong-un, I'd
Where
like
have
to
you
get to the
been?
bottom of your dreams. I had a dream that the streets of Delhi are deserted as streets of one, and I am standing on a crossroads path alone.
Well, it symbolises his life, doesn't it? Which way to go.
It could do. Could do.
Because you can take the right road, the wrong road, and with everything's happening on the planet at the moment, people are isolating themselves and that, and you don't know what to trust. It's a trust issue.
It is in a lot of ways, because crossroads is a choice, isn't it? When we're at a crossroads, and a crossroads in a dream is like a choice we make in life. Now, there is in here, obviously, the deserted streets and Wuhan being in it is also a reference to the coronavirus there. But maybe you're dreaming symbolism of the coronavirus to represent personal issues that you've got in life. I would say this dream represents something where you've got to make a big choice. And this lockdown period, perhaps, is a time when you've got to make a big decision about something. Maybe you've lost your job and you've got to make a decision what to do with that. Maybe you're under stress on a relationship and a decision's got to be made with that. Something in the back of your mind is saying it's just like being on a deserted street. Nobody can help me. You know, I feel alone with this. And that's why it's a deserted street. And that's probably been triggered by watching the news and seeing all these deserted films of cities. Delhi, now that might have a symbolism to you. You're obviously not the real Kim Jong-un. But where do you come from? What country are you from? I would ask with that. You know, what does Delhi represent to you? I mean, if you live in India, and I know we get a lot of Indian people following this channel, Delhi might have a symbolism to you as the capital city, somewhere central, something important in your life, something what you're aiming towards. Or if you lived abroad, Delhi might represent something mystical and foreign to you and unusual and unknown, you know. So I think it's a decision. It's like your unconscious mind is saying, you've got to make a decision. You're at a crossroads, you know. It's hard, it's lonely, it's difficult to make that decision because the streets are empty. You're the only one that can make that decision.
It's through suffering.
And that's, yeah, and there's been, you know, obviously some suffering in the background with that. Have you got anything you want to add, Jane?
No, I just feel, as I say, a person's suffering, which route do I take? Because at the moment, the whole lockdown business creates people in the subconscious mind fear. I mean, could this be a Sikh person? Could this be a Chinese person here making decisions? Traditionally, I feel on a spiritual path, which way to go.
Yeah, I mean, the choice of name, you've obviously got a sense of humour. But no, you've got choices to make. I would have thought it's something to do with work somehow. I think you've got a decision to make. Maybe you've been given an ultimatum at work about what you should or shouldn't do, and you're having to think about it. That's kind of what I feel if I want to pick up on that. Okay. Do you want to read it out?
No, you do.
Okay. So, Coran Chatfield. I have horrible, vivid dreams of being tortured. Things like being in a meat grinder and can't escape.
God, that's horrific.
Well, meat grinder.
Well, it's like somebody putting you in a meat grinder is trying to dispose of you, isn't it, really?
Well, to me, it's a bit like being ground down, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know? And we talk about that, don't we?
And this person is interested in the supernatural, I feel. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, we can't get interaction yet
right.
but we wouldn't be able to do it that way. But you might, Corin, sometimes if we pick something up about you, you might find that the message fits with something we pick up clairvoyantly as well.
Corin's so nice.
But you're getting those horrible, vivid dreams, and you feel you're being tortured. Something is upsetting you on a very deep emotional level.
Is there some suicide things going on around this person?
And it may be, we can't get an interaction with you because we can't. But later on, we might be able to get people to talk by video to us, and we can do a reading like that. But something's grinding you down. You feel you can't escape. That's the way you feel about your life, and it's something. And I mean, again, we're in this lockdown period. The dream could simply be a representation of all the frustration of not being able to get on with anything. You're getting ground down by being 3 months now nearly for us all, isn't it? Of being in lockdown. I've lost track. I don't even know how long it is.
Lots of people can cause mental illness.
And maybe your emotions are getting upset, and maybe this is I think this is a dream of frustration with life, not being able to move forward. So I'd say, Karan, you've got to sort of try to just accept things as they are for the moment. There's not much you can do about it. You know, you can't escape. You know that. Your unconscious is telling you, I can't escape. So acceptance, perhaps.
There's like slight depression in that.
Yes, there could be an element, couldn't there, of that? Yeah, sort of the emotional side behind it. Right, Mickey Bailey. Okay, it was an unusual drawing, Mickey. I like your profile. One of the kids, I expect. Okay, I dream of garden, and I was walking with Indian man whose son had just died. I consoled him, and when we got to this tree, there was weird-looking monkey that walked up to me, wanting to give me a hug and play. Wow!
How many monkeys have you had doing that to you? Then?
Yeah, monkeys tend to take a liking to me, particularly when I was in India. They grab everything out of your bag. Okay, a dream of a garden.
Beauty.
Harmony, perhaps, with the garden. Garden is often like the Garden of Eden, peace, isn't it? And
that's quite a spiritual thing. I dreamt of a garden. I was walking with an Indian man whose son just died, and he was being kind and trying to help him. Okay, so the Indian man, the son of the Indian man had died. Why Indian? Yeah. Again, for Mickey, it might represent something to you. Does that represent something mystical, like a teacher in your life? You know, could be like an Indian guru-y type figure. It's compassion, isn't it? When you're consulting somebody, and we get to his son had just died. That's a Buddhist thing. So, are we dealing with something here? What something died? What is it that's died? The sun. Now, yeah, I know, but is behind it? Is it a symbol, perhaps, of something in your life that's died? Could it represent something else other than a son, such as a relationship that died? Or could that son be a son in your life, or your relationship with your children that's died? Something like that. Or did something bad happen in your life? You know, those are the things. And in the dream, you consoled him. So it's like in your own unconscious mind, who's being consoled? Are you consoling yourself, or is someone consoling you? You know, sometimes Jane said about reversing dreams. We sometimes actually need to look at the inner view, the different, what it could mean. What is the dream? What are all these things in this dream aspects of yourself, Mickey? You know, are you the Indian man and simultaneous the person that's consoling and being consoled? And you get to this tree. Now, Carl Jung talked about archetypal symbols, and the tree is often a symbol of life. It's a symbol of the whole existence of our purpose, the tree of life. And there was a weird-looking monkey in the tree. Monkeys are often trickster figures in dreams. Naughty. Yeah, they're naughty, and they're trickster. The monkey mind, the part of us that will take us off on a wrong path sometimes. And yet you've got kind of a spiritual feel with this Indian man. Monkey mind. And you've got the monkey mind pulling you away at the same time. And there's that playful side of you wanting to give you a play with you. And then at the same time, you've got the Indian man that's much more serious feel with that. So perhaps in your mind, it's a bit like the conflict between the kind of spiritual but a bit puritanical you and the wild but playful you at the same time. And maybe you're trying to... It's love. I pick up that's love. Yeah. Or I think you're trying to bring the opposites together, you know, like the opposites parts of your personality. Part of your personality is wild like a monkey. Part of your personality is a little bit somber because there's a consoling sort of aspect to it, right? So you've got this kind of somber but spiritual and this wild but monkey. And I feel it's about trying to bring these two together in your life, in the tree. Okay, that's as far as I can go with that. Don't know if you wanted to add to that, Jane. Do you want to read it out? Alex had a very realistic dream, whereas back at school, my GCSE scores came back and were scored under a completely new system. I was congratulated and doing well. This is obviously a person that's an achiever, isn't it? That wants to do well in life and tries their very, very best and all the time looking perfection. Yeah, I see it. You're obviously not at school. You were back at school. Quite often we get dreams of being back at school. I mean, lots of us get that. And it's like, it goes back to kind of reflects it's like the GCSEs.
would have been a very stressful time. They were for me when I took my GCSEs. Oh, blimey, you're trying to cram it all in, and you suddenly realise you haven't even studied some of these subjects, and you're forcing yourself to do all this work. So it's quite a stressful time. So the dream is pointing to a time when you felt stressful, and is saying you are feeling now just like you did then, right? When they're doing those exams. And an examination is also sometimes, the exam can be our own conscience sometimes about something. We're examining our conscience, for example, and things have changed. There's a completely new way of dealing with life. So you're questioning yourself. You're saying, am I going to fail? Am I going to win? Am I going to fail? And then there's this, congratulations, you're doing all right. So basically what your unconscious mind is saying to you is saying, stop doubting yourself and start believing in yourself, because you're doing okay. You're going to do well. So the dream is a kind of a prophecy in some ways, and it's also saying stop having this fear. Would you agree?
Well, I also feel this person's also counting figures and adding up figures, and it's like everything that's got to be in sync all the time.
Okay, right. That might be right for you, Alex. So you know, sometimes, like I say, Jane and I will pick up things clairvoyantly, as well as the actual symbolic interpretation. It's like, oh, hi, Sally. Aha, that's my cousin. So Sally's online. Hi, Sally. Nice to see you.
And off she goes.
And off she goes. Aha. So we got amongst all the, because obviously we now get lots of people in from Facebook, because you can watch us on Facebook as well as on YouTube now.
A white cobra, comparatively big, lifted head and looking at me still, people watching. I did not know what to do. It was in a home.
In home. It was in, I probably meant at their own home. Okay.
Well, white cobras can be dangerous, but then if it's a white one, there's purity, isn't there?
Yeah, I think you want to ask about the colours, don't you, really, with that dream? Because white, different cultures will understand white differently. Like in China, white is a symbol of death, where, you know, they wear white at funerals, don't you? I think in China or Japan. So white is, like you say, purity. A cobra, Shubha, the name is. So you're obviously, presumably that's an Indian name. So a cobra to you would be won't be fearful like it is for sometimes for Westerners. It could be a symbol of Shiva. It could be a symbol of enlightenment. The cobra is the protector of Shiva as well, isn't it? And Shiva took the poison. So there might be all sorts of associations in your mind with this as well, you know. And it's looking at your head and people were watching and you didn't know what to do. So you don't know what to do. It was at home. So you don't know what to do about a situation at home, I would say. And the cobra here is in a kind of bigger, lifting its head, perhaps like a feeling like it might strike. So is there a sort of a feeling here?
I would symbolize that and tie that with a guru.
Could be.
It's you've got a master, you've got a guru, perhaps gone into trance and white, spiritual. You would take that, well, what do they call these creatures that aren't coloured? Albino?
Albino. Oh, yeah, white cobras and albino. Yeah.
So it's a spiritual thing. And it's like, I didn't know what to do. It's like facing something. It's like asking, why am I here? What am I meant to be doing in this situation? Yeah. And that's a spiritual thing. You
can interpret the same dream in lots of different ways. Yeah. And sometimes it has multiple meanings, and it's meant to have multiple meanings. So for some levels, it can be purely about an emotional thing in your life. Like, there could be like a problem at your home here that you're worried about and feel something's going to go wrong and the poison's going to be stabbed into you sooner or later. That on one simple
virtue level. I get with this white virtue.
But then it also has deeper meanings. You know, there's things there, isn't there? Like white and the cobra is like an archetypal symbols. We start to go into these areas of the grand dream.
Is it a female cobra? Is it a male cobra? It's both.
Yeah, and also when you interpret your own dreams, you want to start looking at the symbolism in a bit like the way we're doing here. You want to start taking it apart, symbol by symbol, and asking yourself more questions about it. Like Jane said, there is more can you tell us about this cobra? You know, if you look in your mind and you start asking your mind and what was that cobra all about, and then something else will come to mind. Oh yes, it had markings on it, or it had these other things, or hey, that cobra belong to somebody or something. There's a story behind the story.
And it's
like
a big cobra too.
Yeah, the size of it is also important, because to you it's a big problem perhaps, or it's a big issue, or it's a big thing that's happening. So it depends on your association with the cobra, because the cobra can be snakes in dreams have so many levels of meaning.
The underworld.
On the one hand, they're like the underworld, the fear, they leap to the ground, they're negative. On the other hand, they shed their skin, like I said, they're a symbol of transformation and rebirth. That's the three-coiled cobra at the base of the spine. The naga too, the nagas of the idea of the cobra worship in India. It depends on your personal association with that one. So that's what I have to say with that. I'm going to turn the sound off from there. I'm getting sounds coming through. So have we got any more coming up now? Because Domenico is working in the background here. So don't forget to post your questions. And if you're enjoying these live broadcasts, we're also doing some live broadcasts for the people that are patrons to the site. So if you become a patron, there'll be links in the description below later on. And you can join me for my meditation sessions that I'm doing, and some personal development and opening of awareness and things like that we do. So thank you for those that already support us, but you'll get the messages first, and are usually the ones that we try to earmark when people ask questions as well.
It's interesting.
So what does it mean when you talk to someone who has passed in your dreams? And this is by Saniva WK.
Well, what does it mean when you talk to someone who has passed in your dreams? Sometimes it could be a spirit contact, a visitation from the higher realms. It could be that somebody that you knew wanted to get through to you in your subconscious mind. Yes,
sometimes dreams are real like that. Not always. Usually not always, actually, but sometimes. Sometimes you'll get a connection with the dead, real dead, in a dream, someone that you know in spirit.
Grandfather?
And
it grandfather?
Well,
they can't answer.
We can't answer. We can't sort of do clairvoyance like that with it, Jane. But so different levels again to interpret a dream like this. One level is the psychological level. So the psychological level, it could be something in your dream from the past. It could be something in your dream talking to you. Again, it's like, what is it talks? It's like our unconscious mind talks to our conscious mind. So something that's hidden talks to something that we're trying to give us a message. We often get messages from dreams. They might be in terms of a letter, telephone call, and in this case, maybe a dead person talking to you. So on a symbolic level, it could be something from your unconscious. It's trying to push something into your awareness, something you're unaware of, something perhaps about the emotions, because often death dreams are connected to death of the emotions and death of feelings. So that's one level. But then also those same sort of dreams can be, like Jane has said, a real contact with people from the spirit world. I mean, you've had dreams of people that have died, haven't you?
Yeah.
And that you felt.
One was the late John Stokes, and he said, "I'm over here, lovey." And the next day we rang up the Belgravia Square where they had the centre, and they said that he had passed.
That's right. That's a good example. So you didn't even know he died. And same with my dad. When my nan died, my nan had died, and he dreamed about it. And I'm sure lots of you have had dreams like that, amazing dreams where the spirit world give us proof that life continues. And sometimes the only way they can get through to us is through that irrational mind, that subconscious mind, where we're not pushing the thoughts out like we would with our reason and things like that, you know. So, yeah, they're fascinating things, aren't they, dreams? I mean, that was a good example, the one with John. And also sometimes your spiritual teachers can connect with you for dreams.
Barbara.
like we mentioned about Sai Baba earlier, or your spirit
and
guides.
Sharavana Baba.
Sharavana. We both had a dream the other night as Sharavana Baba. Well, Jane had one first, and I had a dream just the night after.
Show me a beautiful rainbow.
And so, sometimes you get messages from teachers. Sometimes you'll get messages from your spirit guides. Some people say that you get angelic messages. Sometimes you get messages from your own higher self. Because I believe in this idea that Sri Aurobindo talked about, that we have an over self, a self within ourselves that is kind of already the enlightened being, that our self is divided into many levels. And sometimes that higher consciousness in ourself talks to the lower consciousness in ourself. Just like that other dream where we had the monkey mind and we had the spiritual mind. It's like the higher self talks to the lower self. So we are our own guides sometimes. And our unconscious can do that and teach us. Sometimes the figures that appear in our dreams are symbolic, like of our higher self. Like Carl Jung had Philemon, the spirit man that used to come to him in his dream with wings of kingfishers, and used to give him messages. And in the end, he started to feel that person was a real person. It took on a real life of its own.
Sounds like personality disorder.
Well, it can be sometimes if it gets out of control. But then sometimes, like in Tibet, they meditate upon what's called a tulpa and create a spirit being that has its own life of its own. Has its own energy and starts moving around and actually materializes as another monk. But that's another time for another story.
Right, another one coming up. There you go, Craig. Yeah, your book.
Well, all right. I'll recommend my book first because that's obviously a good one. Yes, read my book. This one was a bestseller. It was a good book that I think you'd enjoy. It was and I've written three or four other books. Any by me are brilliant.
Say what it's called.
It's The Hidden Meaning of Dreams. But other people's books that you would read, I would suggest. I mean, it depends what type of thing you're interested in. Most of the people watching this channel will be interested in mystical type things. And Carl Gustav Jung, the Swiss psychologist, who worked with Freud and broke with Freud, and is kind of been dismissed by a lot of scientists as being a bit of a mystic. But read his books. His books are absolutely fantastic, Carl Jung. And I would recommend his autobiography, actually. Read a simple book on him first. There's quite a few simple books about it. Get an idea of what his theories are all about. And then read Memories, Dreams, Reflections by him. And I also enjoyed one called, Archaic Man. Was another one that I found very interesting because it talked about primitive people's dreams, which I found very interesting. How we first thought when we were really there and first developing consciousness of ourselves. First developing a consciousness of the self. So those are two I would recommend. Yeah, I would definitely go for the Carl Jung because that's kind of where I go. I've read all the other people, but Carl Jung I always come back to.
It's more psychology then.
It's psychology, but with mysticism too. The man lived it. He wasn't just a theorist, He wasn't just someone that's coming with a cold clinical mind like Skinner and people. He came at it with engaging with this whole idea of that we can become conscious beings. And he talked about, a kind of discovering the undiscovered self, right? That we have within us, a kind of that man is searching for wholeness. Now, a lot of his ideas kind of conflict a lot with a lot of other ideas I have from the East and things like that. But I think he was really onto a lot of good stuff with this idea that there's part of us that we've kind of lost and rejected, and there's not really there, that dreams bring this to the surface and we can make ourselves whole, and that modern man in particular is struggling for wholeness. So Jung is a good one. Chella Smith, do you want to read it, Jane, and start?
You can read it.
Okay, same dream for the last 4 nights. I'm in a store with my mum, who has passed. My husband is in the car. I turn to my mum, and she's gone. I go outside, and husband is gone. I search and can't find either of them.
Well, it comes across as hoping to make contact.
I think the dream is about...
Well, wanting connection with mum. isn't it?
It
The
is.
closeness and giving proof of the afterlife. And as Mum got a message and very much attachment still to Mother, which is understandable, I go outside and husband is gone. I search and can't find either of them. It's looking for reassurance.
It is, because this dream is about your grief. This dream is about your feelings and your thoughts about your mum. I mean, you've had it for 4 nights, and remember, we've been talking about the coronavirus. Often things that you've not dealt with,
and that's quite fascinating to have the same dream for 4 nights. Not many people do that.
It's a recurring dream. We get recurring dreams, and they don't always come 4 nights in a row like that. So often you'll find the dream probably changes a bit each time. It's like takes you through one bit, then it takes you through another. It's like a series, but they're almost the same dream, but slightly different each time.
It feels like a bit of abandonment, doesn't it? It feels like I want to connect with them and send you thoughts and prayers up, and it's very real. And that it's as if I'm wanting to connect, give me proof.
It's about your feelings of grief, of loss of your mum. It's like being abandoned.
Yeah.
You know, it's like being abandoned by your husband. That would be the same sort of bad feeling you'd have. It's like being left alone. I've been abandoned by my husband. It's the same as like when someone dies. It's like they've abandoned you. It's like your mind is saying, oh my God, I've just been left. I've been dumped. I love my mum, but I can't, she's left me. She's dropped me. You know, often people dream when they've lost a husband and the husband's died, they'll have a dream of being divorced, you know, and obviously in life they were happy, but in the dream they're divorced, because the dream's saying it's just like feeling you would have if you'd had a divorce. It's just like the feeling you would have if your husband was gone. You know, it's as bad as that. So your dream is healing. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a healing dream. It's trying to help you resolve your grief.
Grief.
It's helping you to
and
resolve.
It's sort of feeling a bit lost and
and you can't do it all in one shot, can you?
No,
this is something that takes a long time.
Yeah, you've got to give it time,
and you've had it for 4 nights. You know,
it's a long time to have a dream 4 nights the same.
Yeah,
situation.
and I don't think it would be. I don't think it would actually be your mum in the dream in this case. It's because I think your mum is like symbolic. It's saying, "Here's your mum. This is the grief." You know, you're in a store. I don't know what the store would represent. It's a place where you buy things.
Well, things you've done together, and you're searching.
Maybe some personal association.
You're going to store someone. You're searching. You're going to store specifically to have a look.
So. Yeah,
searching.
I suppose there's that, isn't there? Yeah, it could represent the search for something, couldn't it? The search for an answer in this case. You want to, and also there's almost a pun there too, because dreams often have puns. You know, she checked out. You know, check out. This is an American person. I don't know if you are, Cheryl, but if you're American, for example, it's like she checked out. You know, so those all that hidden symbolism.
And your husband's gone. Where's your husband when you need him?
yeah, but that's it's. I think it's saying it's just like feeling my husband's gone. You know, you feel alone with these feelings. You know, these feelings are something that even the husband, if he cares a lot, can't help you with, because they're things that you've got to resolve in your own heart.
It's hard, very hard.
And death is one of those things that's the hardest thing for any of us to ever deal with.
Yeah, it's very hard losing someone.
Could there be anything worse?
Oh, there's another one.
Jonesy.
Jonesy.
That's handy.
Keeping up with Jonesy.
Is the same as your surname.
Hiya, Jonesy. Female.
I always have dreams, vivid ones, 2 or 3 a night. Ones that bug me the most are the floating up into the sky and desperately trying to get onto the ground.
Astral travel.
Should I just let go and float up?
Astral travel.
So you'll explain for people what the astral travel is, if you like. Dreams of flying are usually not accompanied by anything bad. Most people that have dreams of flying, they are usually a dream of release. Freud called them his favorite dream. And it's usually a release from tension when we dream of flying. And so that, like I say, so they're not normally accompanied by this idea of desperately trying to get to the ground again. Now, just looking at the dream first on a psychological level,
fear of death.
It could be trying to ground yourself. I mean, dreams do have a lot of symbolism of fear of death in many dreams, actually, because That is the fundamental fear
People
of all
floating up to
humans.
the sky astral travel. It could be on an emotional vibration.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking at it psychologically first, and you have it 2 or 3 times a night.
It's a long time.
I'll tell you one thing I just would ask with that, because sometimes our dreams tell us about things that are going on in our body. And I don't know if you've had your blood pressure tested, because it could be blood pressure going up and down, because our blood pressure will often drop in the night or go up in the night. And sometimes dreams when you feel it falling are often when the blood pressures drop very quickly as you go into sleep. So maybe there's some physical thing in the dream. Now, don't take me wrong there, but just something you might want to consider, to look into, in case it is something physical. And also it could be emotional, and that your emotions are going up and down, and you want to be grounded. And then other times, perhaps it is also what we call an astral dream, where the spiritual body releases from the physical body, and these do happen occasionally.
A lot of emotion with
But
this
I wouldn't
person
say
too.
2 or 3 times a night. They happen
a lot of
very
emotion,
rarely.
A lot of upset and emotional. Person.
I think you're right there, Joe. I think there's a lot of emotional upset. So should I let go and float up? You can't go wrong in a dream. Let go. See what happens. Let go into it. And that might be the fear that you have. Maybe you have a fear of letting go generally in life.
You need to be grounded.
You know, there's this thing about, I've got to keep my feet on the ground, and yet I've got to let go at the same time. So there's a conflict between the you that controls and the you that wants to be free. So maybe if you start to recognize that, your dreams will change, actually. And you might find that you are freer in the dream, rather than this conflict between the sky and the ground, the mind and the body, perhaps, or the mind, the spirit and the earth. You know, it's like opposites, isn't it? Opposites.
That's been answered now. Right. Ken and Mitchell Shelton, I dream in colour and fly.
Say it out louder, Jane, because
well, I'm reading it.
I always dream in colour and fly, but my husband only dreams in black and white and doesn't fly. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's funny. Most men do dream in black and white, and women do seem to somehow dream in colour. That's interesting.
I don't know if there's been any studies about between male and female about people dreaming in colour and black and white. I think a person that's black and white is a person that's very more rational, aren't they? I mean, all my dreams are in colour, but in some dreams I notice the colour and some dreams I don't. And I think colour in dreams can often represent emotion.
Well, that's interesting. Michelle, she dreams in colour and flies. Well, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's a nice soul floating and colour, and have a memory of that.
So the dream in colour is a kind of emotional dream.
Yeah,
it's
and
an
it's
expressive dream.
It's a nice dream. And the husband only dreams in black and white and doesn't fly.
And he might be much more down to earth in the way he thinks. He might be much more rational, and his feet are on the ground, as it were.
Well, it might be. He's not going anywhere.
He might be very down to earth and doesn't have flights of fancy, where Michelle might be very imaginative and gets carried away with her imagination, you know.
No.
So no, I'm just saying they're two very different people, perhaps, in the times you are. And I would expect, because of that, you're very good for each other.
There's a nice energy here with these two. They blend and complement each other, and there's a nice balance.
So, you know, I would say Michelle is probably, you know, comes up with the ideas, and Ken probably says, yes, great, but we got to make that practical, you know. So there's your two different personalities coming out that expresses itself in dreams, and it works. You know,
good for each other.
And that way you not only get the imaginative side, but you get the practical side, and you know, you can make success of. You can have wild ideas that can be turned into something that actually can be practical part of life. So yeah, I don't think it means anything. One's better than the other with that. It's just the way you.
It's a nice balance, yin and yang.
Yeah, and actually, when you think about it, dreams aren't really in colour at all, are they? Colours are noticed.
Women dream more.
You know, when I think about dreams, I'm not thinking about the colour much, but it's coloured by emotions anyway. Ellie Dyer, shall I read it?
Yeah.
Hi, I recently had a dream that I was on a bike ride with some of my family and my sister disappeared. We found her white bike, but not her. What does this mean, please?
If you have a fear of murder,
What, you can't ask them the question. You've got
Oh
to come
no,
up
of
with
course they're picking up a clever one. I always had a dream that I was on a bike ride. Somehow it must have disappeared. We found her white bike, but not her. What does this mean?
Well, it's a fear of loss, isn't it? You know, fear about the sister disappearing.
It's another abandonment.
It's a different type of abandonment, because this dream surely is, why is she worried about sister disappearing? Has there been
And
a
the
conflict?
white bike, white, spiritual white.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Has there been a conflict with the sister, or has the sister disappeared out of your life for some reason, right? And the family is featured in the dream too, and yet your sister in this dream is no longer part of the family, is she? So there's a question mark over that. Is why is that the case? Is there something happened with the sister? Has she somehow upset people, perhaps? Is she literally symbolized as herself? Or sometimes people in the family can represent aspects of ourself. The qualities that your sister has could be aspects of your personality that have not been integrated into yourself. So that's another way we could look at this. We're on a bike ride. I don't know what the bike ride, if that could have some special meaning to it. Because a bike ride is kind of what? You've got to put effort in. You might have personal associations with the bike ride. I see your picture has lots of bikes in it. Okay, so it's obviously something quite important to you, bike riding.
I can't see bikes.
Yeah, there's a bike in the bottom of the picture, I think, is it? Or
no,
am I wrong?
No, I can't see
Oh no,
bikes.
no, I'm
You're
sorry.
hallucinating.
I better
You're
take
hallucinating.
I better take some more of those tablets. Sorry. So anyway, but perhaps bike riding is something important. You've obviously got a young
bike
family.
rides, you do things together, don't you?
Yeah. So your sister doesn't even own a bike either. But they're very close, and she doesn't even own a bike. Okay, that's good. We've got an extra addition to that question, because maybe you fear something about you and your sister's relationship. You know, maybe you fear that this it's not working out. It's what the white bike. It's quite a difficult dream, this, actually.
Well, white bike, I always associate the colour white, spiritual. I mean, there's a close family connection.
All riding in the same direction together.
Yeah,
and you
closeness.
Just have a little bit of a fear. I think I think basically there's probably something behind this where you have a fear about losing your connection with your sister. Now, we are talking here about the coronavirus period where we're all in isolation. You can't see, presumably, you can't see people like your sister at the moment, maybe, if she's somewhere else. Or maybe it could represent your fear of not being able to connect with the world itself.
We're all going down the same pathway. Think about it,
we're
Craig,
all on the bike. We're all on the bikes, as it were, trying to go down the same pathway, I suppose. But we all can't get out and things like that. So it could represent that, because, you know, particularly at this period of time, it could be a symbolic of lots of different levels there. And I think possibly a fear that, you know, I want to connect, you know, that dream says.
I think we've answered
and
that.
Maybe
now.
we can't connect with the world. One. Yeah.
Oh, it goes on too long.
Sunshine Soul.
Hi, Sunshine Soul.
I had a dream my brother was sleeping in a lazy boy chair and his spirit was floating above astral traveling, I think it's called, and a tornado came and sucked his spirit up. I wonder what that means. I think you fear that it's a premonition of a death. That's what I think you fear. Have you got something to say about it, James?
I'm just reading. I'll let you talk.
What's a lazy boy chair? That's one of those.
Well, when you lay back, don't you?
And his spirit was floating above astral traveling. So I think there's a fear that he's going to be taken away from you.
You didn't feel anything bad.
I don't think it's a prophecy, but I think it's a fear.
It's a bit sounds like what's that, Dorothy, doesn't it? That with a tornado.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
like Dorothy,
tornado come and suck you.
You're suddenly happy, and then it's taken from you, and you don't feel that bliss anymore.
So perhaps on one level you fear that your brother's going to be taken away from you. Perhaps your brother's been going through something that makes you feel that it's made him emotionally distanced from you. I mean, you know, so if, say, for example, someone got involved in alcohol or drugs or something, we feel they've been taken from us.
You're not in control of the situation, and you want it to be, and suddenly it's taken out of your hands.
Yeah, so I think it's a fear. You worry for your brother, or something in your own life that is like your brother. Maybe if it's not your brother directly, the brother could represent something else in your life in a masked form, such as somebody in your life that you're close to on a brotherly, sisterly energy, that you feel they've been taken from you somehow emotionally and the connection's been lost. So somewhere, sunshine, you've been losing your connection with somebody somewhere. There's a feeling that I've lost touch with emotionally with somebody, or maybe even emotionally of something within inside yourself. I mean, these things you have to explore when you do a bit more of an in-depth sort of analysis with someone. But something, the essence of it, I think, is not so much about astral traveling, but a fear of something emotionally being taken away.
Because if you astral travel, you come back again into your physical body, so you're not taken off by a tornado.
And I noticed the word sucked his spirit up, you know, pulled away from it. It's like something that's out of our control.
Well, this is good. What's that there?
Goldie Eyes Gods.
Oh, Goldie Eyes Gods.
I don't know where you people get your usernames from. There's some unusual ones, isn't there?
I don't know
what I could call myself.
I get dream with men in black robes leading me inside a huge temple, and one of them baptized me inside the temple. Black robes. Well, the only thing you would associate people with black robes is like monks, isn't it? Or you could, you know, it's like a secret set, isn't it?
Yeah,
temple.
I mean, black is the
symbol,
hidden, the mysterious, the unconscious mind, isn't it? It's the dark side of our nature. It's something a little bit sinister about black to most people, because it's like the unknown, you know, it's that part of ourself that we don't know. The unconscious mind is like darkness. We fear darkness for some reason, for going back to our early primitive state when we first, before the invention of fire, when we were victims, when the darkness
you wouldn't be baptized inside a temple anyway.
You wouldn't inside a temple, but there's also this symbol here, isn't there? Because baptism is rebirth. So
cleansing, it's cleansing.
Yeah,
as well.
It's also a cleansing, baptized. But it's like baptism came from John the Baptist, and the ideas pre-John the Baptist of birth and rebirth. You know, they're pre-Christian ideas, but also Christian ideas. You probably associate with the Christian idea here. But that the body is put back into the womb and brought back out again. So it's symbolic of baptism, that it's the second birth. So it can and it's been done in a temple. So it's like saying a possible of a spiritual awakening.
I think this person has a fear of anything evil.
Possibly with the blacks.
Evil. Is frightened of anything evil, like this, and the third eye. Because if you look at all this, it has a fear. She has a fear.
Yeah, but I think it's more like you have to go through the fear to get to the truth sometimes. You have to go through hell to get to heaven, as it said in Dante. It's, and the baptism is about waking up again. You know, waking up again, and
drowning in a situation that you can't be in control of. So water is very symbolic, and so it has an inner fear.
But I think it's more about there's a potential in that dream that you can awaken, that you're awakening spiritually. It's in a temple. Okay, it seems ominous because of the dark figures. It's scary, the spiritual journey you're on. You know, it's frightening. It's dark figures. They're robed. They're going into a dark, strange place. But there's a baptism there. There's a rebirth. So the unconscious mind is saying to you, you can wake up. You can be a new person. You can become on the path of enlightenment.
You can't do clairvoyance on it, but I was wondering if there's anything association with Turkey or Greece.
Okay. So next one then.
Oh.
Julie Miller. Cool, I'm talking such a lot. You want to do some, Jay. Hi, I had a very vivid dream.
You just said talking a lot. I didn't know you took over.
Go, you read it out then.
Julie. Hi, I had a very vivid dream that I was bit on my right hand by a snake. We're all having snakes, aren't we? As the dream progressed, I was bitten a second time on the right hand by another snake. The vividness of the dream continues to resonate with me. Thanks.
Okay. Again, snakes.
Poison.
Snakes have so many meanings in dreams, and that's
why. They can be sexual.
Yeah, they can have all sorts of meanings.
They can be awakening. People have a fear of snakes. They can be lazy and they can pounce on you and things. But to be bitten on each hand, it's like venom going into right to the heart and everything.
Have you been bitten twice in a relationships? you know, 2 relationships that went wrong. What is it
by a
that
cat or a
symbolised
snake.
that by that? But I've been twice bitten. You know,
Yeah.
that's what you're saying. I've
That's
been bitten
right.
on my left and my right. You know, and it's bitten me on my hands. The things that I work with in the world. You know, these are important. These hands. They're my way of.
It'd be interesting if you
things.
could describe what the snakes looked like and the colours.
We can't do that, Jane. That would be too complicated to try to do it that way with people. It wouldn't be fair on them either, because it'd be hard to write. Because I think what we could say with it, I think it's something has hurt you twice.
Not to trust.
That's where the snake comes, and it's
Not
poisonous, isn't
yeah,
it?
poison, venom going to the heart.
And, yeah,
it's rising on both things. It's like you try your best, but you're bitten by the snake, and it's going right into your heart chambers and it's like a warning, I would say.
And sometimes, I don't know, some people, I certainly get it. If I'm laying on my hand at night on the pillow, I'll sometimes wake up and my hand goes numb where I've sort of laid on it.
But you haven't been bitten by a snake.
But it might trigger that sort of dream.
No, I don't think so.
Often physical things will trigger
dreams. I think it's a
dreams.
warning from beyond. You've been bitten twice, and like a venom going into the heart chambers here, and to be cautious.
And it might not be something now in your life, remember. It might be something that is dealt with in the past. You know, often things that are coming up in the past, from the past that we haven't resolved, particularly in this period that we got now, we're kind of getting in a much more reflective state, and things we haven't had time to emotionally deal with. Now's a good time for the unconscious to present us with it and to say, look, you had 2 bad things happen in your past. This is what they are, and you need to deal with that, right? So I think it could be something from the past, not necessarily something that's happening to you now. And it's very vivid, of course, that type of dream for you. So keep giving us your questions. We're going to do one more now because we're coming to the end, and so don't forget, if you'd like to share this video, it does help us to get the message out there and get more people watching the channel, which is great for us. So can share it on Facebook, because you'll see this coming up on Facebook, and if you've watched it on Facebook, share it so that others can start to see it and join us next time. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, because on the YouTube channel, if you follow us, and there's a little bell thing at the bottom, which I will say, if you click that, it means you'll get updates. So when a new video is about to come out, like this one, or a new video is out, you know, you'll get an update and you'll get it in your inbox. You'll get an email to let you know that another video's come up. And there's lots of things we're doing on the videos at the moment, and lots of fun stuff as well. So, and meditations as well as these live ones. So this is the last one. So high def 77. High definition. I had a reoccurring dream for years that I was watching the evening news. It showed a video of astronauts walking in a trench on the moon and making physical contact with aliens.
We've arrived. Well, I suppose that, you know, is sort of a person streaming this likes to know what the future holds, and a person that's very interested in physical phenomena on the earth, and on the earth. God, it's stupid sometimes. On the earth and in the outer space, and asking if, you know, aliens and that. Yes, I believe there are other life forces.
So we've got to look at these things when we're talking about a dream and understanding what the dream means. And it's a reoccurring dream. So if a reoccurring dream comes up, it's something that's bugging you in the background that has to keep coming back, and you've not resolved, usually an emotional issue that needs to be sorted out, and you've had it for years. So why have you been having this for such a long time? What is it that has affected you somewhere in the past that you couldn't deal with? Right, so, and it's on the news too, so it's kind of been broadcast. Maybe it's been, some people are talking about it, maybe, or maybe your unconscious mind is saying, here, no, here it is. It's news. It's in the news. You know, a bit like the corona's in the news. It don't go away. We want to turn our mind away from it sometimes, but it keeps coming back. And then you're showing this video of astronauts walking in a trench on the moon. Something, perhaps the trench is like, maybe there's a pun there, like being entrenched, right? And the moon is also a symbol of something that is the feminine side of the personality too, you know. and physical contact with aliens. So aliens are things that we don't understand. They're things that we pushed out in a way.
Artificial intelligence, Craig, that comes across.
They're
wanting to know more.
Yeah, they're things that symbolically represent kind of like something that is alien to us, feelings that we're not used to, perhaps feelings that could affect us on a deep level. I think this relates to something that's happened a long time ago, possibly connected with childhood. I know, sounding a bit like Freud now, but something that you didn't resolve. Because physical contact with aliens, has there been some physical contact or something that happened that was uncomfortable with you for a long time ago? Because often these things with aliens, it's something that is, you know, it's something from the far side of the moon. It's something far away, something we've tried to push well out of our life. So maybe there was something that happened, a trauma of some sort in your life, perhaps a long way back, that still keeps coming back and haunts you, you know?
This is a highly intelligent person that wants to look for something more and in communication. That's what I get
the feeling you're a very clever person, and I think you might have had something to do with media and things and things like that in your life, and the television in it could be something symbolic connected with your involvement with something like that. No. So is that the last question, or we got another one now?
No.
So that was it. So anyway, okay, everybody. Well, thank you again for joining us, and I just reaffirmed to don't forget to follow the channel, and don't forget to remember my book. You can go out and buy that on Amazon. You know, I actually don't get much money from this one anymore because it's with my old publisher Sterling, so they give you peanuts. But you can also get my other books on Amazon and get those as well. But it's still a good book, and it's quite a funny book, actually. Sometimes in places I put some silly superstitions in it. So don't forget, follow the channel and like the video if you've enjoyed it. And do leave a comment, because, you know, if you've still got interesting dreams, put them in the comments, and myself and others will come and look at those and sometimes give other interpretations. And what do you think about dreams? You know, what do you think about the dreams in this time of the coronavirus? Put your comments in the comment below. Okay. Well, I think we're there, aren't we? So it's time to say bye.
Yeah, and good night, everybody. Thank you for watching us, and do keep watching, and we'll see you next Friday. Well, I will.
Okay, and we got guests coming up soon too, so hopefully we've got a guest next week.
Famous people.
Well, famous people and some interesting. I think we're going to be, hopefully, the plan is actually to do the astrology next week. We've got a Vedic astrologer coming on, who is actually online at the moment. So that's going to be something interesting. They sent me some Jainamai's charts. We'll be looking at what is it in a person's chart that makes them a medium. But this is Indian astrology, which is very interesting. Okay. Thank you for joining us. See you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.